All right, so correct me if I'm wrong on this, but in the gaming landscape, I have never once heard of a console's MSRP going up after launch. I've never heard the initial price be increased. I've heard of, price cuts, the price is going down over time, but prices increasing over time, only you, Meta and Facebook, only you. I'm referring to their recent announcement that they published here on Twitter, as well as their blog post, which I'll get to in a bit, that in order to continue investing in moving the VR industry forward for the long term, we are adjusting the price of Meta Quest 2 headsets to $399.99 or $400 for the 128GB version and $500 for the 256GB version starting on August 1st. Those who are familiar with the initial price points of the Meta Quest 2 will know that that is a whopping $100 increase from its launch MSRP of $300 for the 128GB version and $400 for the 256GB version. One of the appeals of the Meta Quest is how affordable it is. I still don't like the fact that you have to link it to your Facebook account, and it's not an ecosystem that I want to partake in. I own a Quest 1, and the fact that you don't have to link your Facebook account on it is what made me keep that, but I haven't moved to Quest 2 because of that requirement, and I don't want to give Facebook any more of my information. Screw Facebook, Meta, whatever. They're an awful company. But at the very least, they had that accessibility of affordability aspect that has gotten worse. I'm not saying that $400 to $500 is completely outside the realm of what many people can afford, but it is now more expensive. It is less affordable, and it's going to make people think twice a bit more about getting this headset over other ones that have come quite a long way and may potentially offer more value. Now let's take a look at this blog post detailing this further, whose headline reads, Meta Quest 2 pricing changes, Beat Saber included for a limited time. Not even permanently, for a limited time. We're making a change that will help us continue to invest for the long term and keep driving the VR industry forward. Saying, guys, we don't have enough money. We need more money from you to invest further in our VR endeavors. They're pretending as if they're not one of the richest companies in the world and need to do a Kickstarter of sorts by increasing the price so that people can fund their endeavors more, when we're dealing with a multi-billion-dollar company. In fact, I looked it up. They're worth roughly, as of 2022, $538 billion. But of course, with these companies, it's not about whether they're making enough money. It's about whether they're making all of the money to show that they're poised for this infinite growth that is completely unsustainable. That's going to cap off eventually. And so to that end, Meta decided, hey, let's increase the prices, and that way we can rake in a bit more money and kind of balance out the supply versus demand chart. Now, they try to soften the blow by saying that for a limited time, the headset will include an offer to download the popular VR rhythm game Beat Saber at no additional cost. As for exactly how long to retrieve this offer, you can see down here in fine print, people who purchase a new Meta Quest 2 from August 1st, 2022 through December 31st, 2022, basically until the end of this year, and activate the device before January 31st, 2023, using an account that does not already have Beat Saber enabled, will be able to download Beat Saber at no additional cost for 14 days following activation. So basically, once 2023 kicks in, these devices will just be more expensive while offering no additional value whatsoever. And what additional value is offered for those who purchase between August 2022 and December of 2022, that grace period will you get Beat Saber for free if you get a Quest 2 in that time period. The value that you're getting is not a whole lot. Beat Saber right now on the Meta Quest store costs $30. So if this happens to be a game that you planned to get at one point, you're looking at $30 savings, which means that the 128GB version of the Quest 2 would be more in line with $370, and the 256GB version would be $470. But that's only if you planned to get Beat Saber at all, or if you don't own it, which many people very well may, especially if you're coming from Quest 1. I mean, those purchases transfer over, so you get no additional value ultimately from this. Oh, but it gets worse. It's not just the headset itself that's increasing in price, but alongside that, they're also increasing the prices for Meta Quest 2 accessories and refurbished units. The blog post does provide a link to the official accessory store for the Meta Quest, and you can see right here the current price points. It's not August yet, so these prices have not been increased, but yeah, expect the link cable, I don't know, maybe it'll go up to $100, $99 instead of $79, among many others whose price points right here will be increasing, and they already are pretty damn expensive, but they're about to get noticeably worse. Same thing goes for refurbished units, which are currently going for $250. I imagine that might get bumped up to like $300, maybe $350 if they want to get ambitious. And you've got to love the fact that they haven't been transparent about what the price hikes will look like for the accessories and the refurbished units. We just kind of have to wait until August 1st to see these prices updated. And that's probably because they know that people are not going to be happy by how much these prices will increase. So they're keeping it under wraps for as long as possible, likely bracing themselves for some backlash. Either way, to me, this seems like a very scummy thing to do, especially with Meta pretending like we need this money to further invest into VR, as if, again, they're not one of the richest companies in the world, as if I already didn't have enough reasons to not get a Meta Quest 2 and wait for another company to output a wireless VR headset. Now I'm getting the news that the entire Quest 2 ecosystem, from the headset itself to the accessories, are about to get significantly more expensive. It is unprecedented enough that a gaming device's MSRP is going up after time has passed rather than going down, but the fact that it's by $100 freaking dollars, not even $50, $100 for both models, it's frickin' ridiculous. As for how the internet has been reacting to all of this, obviously none too pleased. The Meta Quest post here that announces this, you can already see is getting ratioed only 1,176 likes versus almost 2,000 retweets and already over 1,000 replies. And here's somebody who put it into perspective, $100 more, and for what? What benefit do new purchasers get out of this? It's the same device. And I'll say again, the offer where you get Beat Saber for free at no additional cost, not only is it limited time, but it's just a $30 value that comes nowhere close to making up for the $100 extra you're paying. It's not been upgraded, you're not providing extra accessories or anything, you're providing no additional value to compensate for the increase in price. Big fat L. Could not agree more. Here's another post that notes how little value the inclusion of Beat Saber adds to the overall package. You get Beat Saber, a $30 game for free. What a terrible way to make up for the price. And that time period of August to the end of the year is not a long time period at all. As somebody points out here, yeah, for a 4-month window, that's not good enough. This is in stark contrast to previous offers as outlined here by this Twitter user. The Rift CV1 gave you 6 free games for the same price of $3.99 and you own them forever. And then there are those looking at the competition, curious to see how they'll stack up to Meta Quest 2, especially now that the price has been increased, with many noting that PlayStation VR 2 is not too far off, and somebody already tweeted in response to Meta Quest post, no thanks, we'll buy the superior VR. Now we don't know the price point of the PlayStation VR yet, but I think it's very much a possibility that it will be in the realm of $500. If PSVR 2 somehow lands at $500, it's going to be crazy, super high tech for the same cost. The only drawback that PlayStation VR 2 would have is that it's not wireless, whereas the Meta Quest 2, it is a wireless VR headset, and I'll admit it's very nice to not have that cable interfering with your movements, but PSVR 2 is going to come packed in with so much technology, especially running off of the powerful PlayStation 5, and they're going to be dedicated games made for it. Now, to be fair with PlayStation VR 2, you do need to have a PlayStation 5 to be able to utilize it, but the PlayStation 5 itself offers its own value because it is a console where you can play other traditional games, and PSVR 2 is just an extra thing that you can attach to it to play dedicated VR experiences. We'll see how all of that pans out, but so far from what they're presenting, PlayStation seems like they're taking this endeavor very seriously. But yeah, if PlayStation VR 2 can achieve a price point that's comparable to Meta Quest 2, then the choice for me will become very, very clear. Others calling out how Meta presents their reasoning for the price increase as we need the money, we need the funding to invest further into the future of VR, with somebody here responding, yes, I understand that a small company like Facebook needs the extra money. Looking at their latest financial report for the first quarter of 2022, you can see right here that the company raked in almost $28 billion in that quarter alone. Now, of course, that's offset by expenses ranging in the almost $20 billion mark, but that's still an income from operations of roughly $8.5 billion. But again, it's not about the raw numbers and whether it's enough money. It's about, do you see that trend rising and rising ad infinitum? That's what corporations want to show investors, and to that end, they'll pull off any kind of scummy monetization scheme or any kind of business tactic, like increasing the price of a device that's almost 2 years old now by a whopping $100 alongside the accessories and refurbished devices. Again, as far as I know, just unheard of in the gaming landscape, and hopefully other companies don't get any ideas from this, increasing prices over time rather than decreasing them when there is high demand. I mean, just imagine if Nintendo, Microsoft, or Sony came out and said, due to high demand and wanting to invest further into the future of gaming, we are increasing the prices of the Nintendo Switch models and Xbox Series models and PlayStation 5 models by $100. Imagine the uproar that would generate. Yeah, suffice to say that the Meta Quest ecosystem is just not for me. I'm going to wait for a company like Valve to release their own wireless headset. We definitely don't have enough competition on this front, on the wireless VR headset front. We're getting a lot of like high-end VR headsets that are like, $1,000 like the Index, and those are cool. I do have one of those, but I'd love to see them also tackle a cheaper version that's more accessible, that's more affordable, that has more of a potential to garner mass market appreciation and serve as a genuine competitive force to the Meta Quest 2, which is trying to get away with way too much. I guess we'll see what happens there, but I really hope other companies can show MetaQuest how it's really done. But that's one man's take on the latest developments surrounding the MetaQuest 2 VR headset. Let me know in the comments below what your thoughts and opinions are on this post-launch price hike, and to be further updated on all things gaming news, reviews, and discussions, stay tuned right here on Young Yeah. I'll see you guys next time. Young out.